Welcome to Unveiling Africa. I'm your host, Kristen Daco McHarry. I have with me today a beautiful, beautiful girl from Guinea who said, when I asked her a title, she said, just say the girl who decided to go for it. And go for it you did. So you're going to give us a little bit of your history behind all that and how you became to be the Batouly Fatima Camara.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from and how this journey came about. So tell us who you are. I already gave the information, but tell us from your mouth who you are and where you're from and basically how you arrived at this part of your life.
Absolutely. I just first want to thank you so much. I absolutely love everything Unveiling Africa, and I think there is so much to unveil. And thank you so much for taking it upon yourself to do this work and to amplify voices. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. You do it beautifully. You are incredible. You are gorgeous, amazing background. Stop. You are shining. But for me, Batouly Camara, it's so beautiful because I have my grandmother's name. And so when you said, who is that? I always go back to the foundation and the root of who I am. And being born and raised in New York City, but I felt like I was born and raised in Guinea, West Africa, with strong roots. And I highly, just say so much gratitude and thanks to my mother, raising four children as a single mother and doing an amazing job. And through that time, she always taught us hard history lessons instead of fun facts. And at a young age, we all knew why we were here, what we had to do, and how her prayers were behind us so we can do anything we wanted to. And that is how I live my life. I have my mother's prayers. Nothing is against me. And I just became a girl who just went for it. And that started when I started playing basketball at the age of 12 years old. I went from about 5'9" to 6 feet overnight and continued to grow. And everyone's like, where would she go? And I started to pick up the game. And I love the sisterhood and the impact that had for me. And from there, being able to play in college and obtain my master's and now playing professionally in Spain. And the biggest accomplishment I would say to date is starting my nonprofit Women and Kids Empowerment, which works to empower young girls like myself through sport, through education, and through social entrepreneurship programming. And leadership is a huge focus for us. But I always say it's just me answering the call, the young girl who grew up in New York, the young girl who grew up in Guinea. So that's kind of how it all started.
I'm so proud of you, so very proud of you and your mother, because she's your backbone. And so we'll never forget to thank her for all the sacrifices she must have had or made to bring you here today. And then talking about your empowerment for younger girls, I have a niece who's a great baller, and I think she might follow your footsteps. So I'm going to link you two up together so you can all work together and maybe, you direct and guide her accordingly, Thank you. Her name is Shay, and she's the number one prospect in Arizona today. And for 2024, she's number one. Schools are looking at her. She's just got into high school. This was all before she got into high school. She just played with 17 U's and big girls. And she's acing it. Yeah. So I want to link you up together. So that's one of my promises or wishes to fulfill for me.
Okay.
So now tell us where you're from. What's your background besides, I know you live in New York, but mother comes from?
Guinea, West Africa.
Okay.
Yes. Guinea Conakry.
Oh, wow, that's nice. I love you girls. You're so pretty and nice. So now, I know you also wrote a children's book.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I recently wrote a children's book called A Basketball Game on W.A.K.E Street. And as I mentioned, I just feel like I grew up with such an acute awareness and knowledge of the world and what was going on. And I love to read at an early age. It allowed me to travel. It allowed me to learn more. It showed me how to tell my own story and why it was so important for us to know who we are and where we come from. And that was kind of this children's book of as I continued to travel. And I said, this book isn't out there. I haven't seen a book that highlights diverse girls across unique backgrounds with unique abilities. And that's the world I live in. That's the amazing people I've come across. And so everyone in that book is someone close to my heart. And when I started writing this book, I kept getting this phrase, don't forget about me. don't forget about me. And I think
Wow.
about how many stories we don't have the opportunity to share or to tell or to experience. And for me, it was a snippet of a microcosm in a basketball game of, you know, diverse girls with unique backgrounds and unique abilities coming together for a basketball game. But in the larger picture, us coming together for life and the world we want to live in, which is just, which is fair, and which is equal,
Right.
which is representative.
Right. I'm so proud of you. And when I started this whole thing about Unveiling Africa 10 years ago, it was under the same vision. You know, I turned on my TV just to see something that would remind me of home, you know, because I had nobody here with me, but just myself. And I would say nothing. The only time I see anything about Africa is bad news, negative information. So I said, you know what? Then someone told me, Christine, if you don't find what you're looking for, create your own. And I said, really, you're right. I said, but how could I do that? She said, just start talking. And this is what, even I know.
I love it.
This was even before the time of the internet, you know, the way blossomed up and everything. So I was kept on struggling with it. I said, God help me. I want to tell my story. And everywhere I went, they always fought with me and said, you're not African, stop playing. I said, what does an African look like? So, you know, they had a stereotypical view and vision of what African looked like, not knowing that we have all the very best. So I decided I would bring out the best that the Oprahs of the world, the Wendy Williams of the world will not remember to bring out, you know. So I want to promote my culture, and then share it with the world, because the diversity and the inclusiveness is much more than being divisive and negative, you know. So that's great that you write that book, because now a lot of little girls, besides what's happening in America today, are going to be looking up to you and to others who bring light to our, you know, differences, you know, in a positive light. So now I want to say, what were the challenges all the loves you witnessed or experienced while growing up in America, being from a Guinean background?
I would say the first is, it's so important to teach your kids where they come from. That's first. And the second, the reason why I say that was because the biggest challenge was feeling lost. I don't want to identify as this, or I don't want to be that, and running away from the things that are so rich of being African. Like, my goodness, you know, what a blessing.
Yes.
And things that I would, you know, run away from, I was shy from, because people didn't understand, but that should have made me tap into more. Why don't people understand? You know, what are these bigger systems at hand that was affecting me and not accepting myself? And we all go on the journey of self-love, but really, I think that was the biggest challenge of truly accepting where I come from, and not saying this limits me or this defines me, because we all have diversity of thought, and we all come from, you know, unique things, and from South Africa to East Africa, it's all different.
Right.
But kind of this, you know, togetherness, say this is who I am, but that does not make me limited to who I can be or become. And so I'd say that was the biggest challenge, of feeling like I had to identify something to make it easier for people to understand, when it was, that's not the case, you know, except who I am and who I'm going to be. And it's a beautiful thing and a shared experience.
Yeah. I like that. So, you know, that's really very confident person. She was a very confident person, and, you know, one who has to be proud of their heritage, no matter what. I know you're a very religious young lady, and I wanted to add into the diversity of being not just being of African origin, but also of a Muslim background. Did you have any problems with that growing up? But did people look at you differently, and how were you treated? You know, because we have young girls still coming up, and they either give in and buy and sell their souls, or they stand firm and fit like you. So share your experiences and what you would have done better, or what you did to hold your own, for lack of a better word.
It just comes back to that. I think I just would have become who I was meant to be sooner, and accepted myself, you know, as a young, you know, African Muslim woman, and really holding firm to that. Because once I fluctuated, it was, well, now you go back to these identities that are at your core, and people are like, well, you didn't do that before. It's like, there's so much internal work that has to be done before it's external. And so I'll tell a lot of young girls, and for me, the biggest challenge, I say, is lack of understanding. Well, why do you do that? Is it that important to you? you know, and people kind of get scared for you, or what's going to happen to you. How will you be limited in your opportunities? And I'm just like, you know, that's not what I'm thinking about. This is manifestation of my beliefs, and what is meant for me, I would say, will not miss you.
Exactly.
That is so key. But it was difficult to get people to understand, you know, why I took this step in my religious journey, or, you know, why you have to cover, and feeling like you have to constantly explain again of who you are and what you do. But once you get to the point where you live it, and now your actions speak louder than words, it becomes a lot easier for people to understand that.
Wow. You're so profound. Tuli. I like the way you named yourself too, Tuli. Now, Tuli, tell me, how long does it take for you to put on your hijab?
Depends on the day and the occasion. It depends on the day and the occasion. Usually this one, I really like this material. It's kind of like a jersey one. So it's really loose. This is about like 2 seconds. 5-10 seconds. You kind of just wrap it, but then there's some like a chiffon, which I was gonna wear, but that takes like about like 5 minutes for me. So some experts it doesn't, but it takes about 5, because you try to shape it, you try to get it to the best of what you want. So it depends. Depends what you want. So, you know, nothing more than 10 minutes. Nothing more than 10 minutes, I would say.
Okay. Is there a difference in which material you use, and for what reasons you use the materials? Because I've really always wondered about this, and I wanted to ask people, but I dare not go up to them and ask foolish questions like that. But you know, we wonder too, because not part of that culture or religion. There's certain nuances about everyone's religion. So, first of all, why do you cover the whole body? I mean, I'm sure it's obvious, but let me hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yes,
because I'm doing teaching today about Muslim religion. So when they understand where you come from, it's easier for them to work and relate to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. The first reason is it's been commanded by us from God, and a sign of modesty. So when I'm around my family or my brothers, my father, it's off. I'm just me. But in the outside world, it's a sign of modesty and covering that which God has given you. So it's like the kind of way I describe it is when you go to a wedding day and the girl is veiled and you lift it. That is kind of what it's like. Kind of this shield and only certain people being allowed to
see the real you.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I have pictured it. But yes, a sign of modesty.
Yeah. And then the materials, is there a special one for a special occasion?
Yes. So it's kind of like picking a dress. Like what materials you want. They have silk. They have chiffon is a popular material. This kind. There's visco, and it depends what type of look you want. If you go for like a more classy, you'll go for a chiffon, which is a much lighter, much softer material, very clean cut. Or if you're going to like a wedding, you probably pick like a silk or something like that, like a cashmere. Probably not cashmere, that's pretty heavy. And if you're like every day, it's usually jersey. It goes well with different materials. So, and there's a sports hijab, which I wear. There's like hijab, and then there's some which are kind of a banded style.
Right.
But yeah, usually. And material is important,
Yeah,
it is.
I'm sure.
That's a great question.
I'm sure. Yeah. So, did you become, when you play basketball, you have to unveil, obviously. Do you have a problem with that? Or no, you play with your hijab?
Yes.
Wonderful. I'm glad I asked that question.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great question. And it's interesting because I when I started wearing it professionally, there's a girl named Bilquis Abdul-Qadir, and she wanted to play in Spain, and there was a ban. So professionals could not wear hijab if you wanted to go professional in FIBA. And she fought for over 2 years to lift the ban. And now I'm the first player in Spain to cover and wear hijab while I play due to her. And she was one of my friends who was fighting this. And I never thought in the back of my mind that I would instantly benefit from that. And it's been an amazing journey.
You have to send me her name because I have to highlight that. That's fantastic. Who would have thought that would be such a big deal? And it doesn't affect you in any way, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Wow. Well, I hear you're doing very well in Spain. So tell us about your game in Spain, or your games in Spain. How have they embraced you? How do you like Spain?
I love Spain, and I took Spanish, and I wish I took more Spanish. Now I'm trying to perfect my French. But I love Spain, the culture, the food. I just visited a new city the other day, and you go and you turn the corner and there's these huge cathedrals and people are just walking by every day. And I'm like, this is, people travel to come see, and, going back to the great food, and it's very family oriented. Like, I kind of like the intergenerational approach, where even if you go back, like in my country, Guinea, you see a lot of, from the grandchildren, the grandparents.
Right.
You see that a lot here, which I really appreciate. And in terms of me wearing hijab, it's been kind of accepted. For some people are kind of like, well, what's going on? But then, well received after that. And I'm very, very thankful for that, because I know there's many different experiences all over the world, but I'm very thankful for that I have part here.
Yeah. So now, as a Muslim, how do you see your future, in the game and as in life, let's say? Are you willing? Another question I want to ask, permit me, is, the Muslim religion allows up to 4 wives. How do you feel about that? Is that something that you're open to? How do you look up to that?
That's a great question. My grandfather did have up to 4 wives, and he has 42 living kids, and my mom is the firstborn. Her mom, so my direct grandma, who I'm named after, had 13 kids.
Oh my God.
Same mom, same dad.
Wow.
And my mom is the first of 42. And so I'm against it. I mean, it is permitted. It is permitted. But you kind of have those conversations, especially like when you're talking to someone. It's like, do you think you'd seek a second wife? If so, that's, and so you have the conversations. They're open to it, and that can be a decision from there, but I don't know. That was not for me.
Glad I asked you, because I remember I asked someone else before from the same faith, and she said, I don't mind. I grew up, my father had about 4 or 5 wives, and we were fine. Everything worked well and everything. And I was like, oh my gosh. She was okay with it, but I feel comfortable. I feel good now when someone like you says, you're kind of questionable, it's not something that sits there right, but, do you see younger men today looking forward to doing that, or shying away from it a little bit, trying to be, more like one man, one woman? There's too many women, there's too many problems.
Exactly. And I think so. And I think, one of the stipulations is it says, yes, you can marry 4 wives, but if you treat them equally.
And
that's not fair. That's not the same, but yes, equally. And so I think a lot of people, they get married to one and they're like, whew, this is a lot.
See?
So I think the younger generation is changing a little bit, honestly. I do.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm glad you spoke openly about this, because this is a question I'm trying to back out the minds of many people, but they're scared to ask, or they're afraid to come up to you and ask such personal questions. Now, I know you touched on your nonprofit organization that you started, or foundation, and how is that coming while you're in Spain? Is it still going on? I know with the internet, yes, that's possibly the answer, but has that impeded you in any way to further your foundational goals?
I would say yes. With both the recent elections in Guinea and here in the US, it has, and COVID, it has really put things at kind of a standstill. But I always think you can control what you can, and you can work towards this. Okay, well, maybe we can't be there physically, but how can we constantly improve our programming? How can we constantly, improve this vision or what we're trying to do? Because you can never rush the foundation. It's all you have. And so I would say, yes, it has stopped a few things we have planned, such as camps and programs, but it has allowed us as a staff to come together and say, what's really important. We have time to do something meaningful and in a strategic way. How can we do that for the best benefit and, prey upon great results? And right now we're really excited because we're working to build, one of the first indoor basketball courts and safe space for young girls in Guinea. And that has been a project near and dear to my heart. And we're working to start fundraising and do that campaign and start, building, God willing, as soon as possible. But that has been an exciting and scary thing, because this is, a physical place where a space that is created for girls to win and to succeed and to be with them. And I want them to create this and have this in mind. So that's been a really reflective and an amazing journey for us in the next step. And we've been just trying to do a lot of the groundwork and foundational work to just create a strong base.
Well, keep us posted. We can help you with the foundation, with the fundraising, share it on our Instagram and our platforms so that people can, people can hear and know about it. That's the key here, awareness. But you do good on your own, actually.
It takes a village.
Yes, it does. It does. You're absolutely right. Now, how did you come back from? I know you did have knee surgery. How is that affecting your play today? How was a comeback?
Comebacks are tough.
Tell me about it.
So honest with it. And so if I sat here today and said, I'm 100% pain free, I'd be lying. And that's hard to come to. And I have a fighting spirit. My spirit is.
You sure do.
And so.
Because I don't know how you could play ball like that again after that. Because I had knee surgeries.
It's not easy. It's not easy, but being very intentional. Like right now, probably when I get off this call, I'll ice my knee out. Probably massage it, and it's a full-time schedule. But some days I wake up and I'm like, I can walk. Yes, that's it. Like that. So I'm keeping that perspective, but it is really tough, because some days you have great days. Some days you walk up one flight of stairs and you're like, oh my goodness.
Oh my God. And you still have to go out there and play.
Yes.
That's your job.
Yeah. But I love it. Yes. And, we practice twice a day. We practice a lot, and but it's something that I love, and working my best to take care of my body.
Good. That's the key. That's your tool.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you go inside of you and own it? Is it teachable or now this is a question. It's a funny question. I never ask my guests this, but you're a very, very profound lady, so I thought I would test you on this one. How do you go inside of yourself and find yourself and own it and teach it?
Yes, that's a great question. And I'm not going to say that I have the answer, but I always start with why. I question everything that I do, and I kind of phrase this as, soul searching or going in the journey within, because not even just one body or one heart, like you are going to be with yourself for the rest of your life. You should get to know yourself and why you do what you do. I question everything, why did you drink water that way? What does that come back to? That stem from your childhood, getting to the root and to the core.
Why you do.
Of why you do what you do, how you do it, where does it come from? Is this my natural frequency? Is this me with no lights, with nothing? Who am I at the core? And how do I continue to take methods to discover that? And the second part I would say is really figuring out who you want to be. What does it, and I always imagine that, what does it feel like? What does the woman feel like? What does she smell like? How does she walk into a room? How does she feel? And what are the steps you take to get there? And that journey of soul searching is painful, and I think it comes with a level of raw honesty that we don't want to face. And I ask myself everything, questions, and I sit with it, whether it's good, whether it's bad, it's ugly, it's good, it's okay. That's a part of you. It doesn't define you, but sit with that, discover that, because you're only stronger with it and knowing yourself. So that's kind of what that looks like for me.
See, I said you would be the one to give me the right answer, and you sure did, because now it leads to and opens up to many, many other things that I'm thinking about right now. The bottom line is know who you are, be who you are, and then you can face anyone who wants to break this body. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Wow. I'm not going to test you much further again. I'm going to go on a lighter note.
I was getting ready.
Now, how much time do you Well, you kind of mentioned that you practice twice a day and you're constantly working at your craft and everything. Because I wanted the young ones who are aspiring to be ballers like you to appreciate what you do to get to where you are. It's not just looking pretty on the court or throwing one hoop and say, oh, yeah. But, it takes a lot of work behind the scenes for you to come out there and show your wonderful craft. So I know that you put a lot into it. And I'm really so looking forward to you meeting my little niece, who does put in a lot of work. She does put in a lot of work. And, this little girl, focuses everything around her life with basketball. So I know you two will have a good connection. Also, like I said, on a lighter note, what's your favorite Guinean dish?
Ooh, my favorite Guinean dish is called tiagi. It's like peanut butter soup. And it is my favorite.
Wow.
Love it. When I come home, that's the one Mom is making. That or like a spicy soup. Those two. That's it. That's all I need.
So how do you eat the soup? You have it eat some kind
with
of
rice.
Like fufu or with rice? Okay.
With rice.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Sounds good. I like anything peanut in soup. Yeah. Yes. Sounds good. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you've been to Guinea. Have you ever been to Guinea?
I have.
Okay. All right. So besides Guinea, which is where you come from, what other two countries in Africa? If I said, Tuli, let's go, because one of my dreams is to take this show across the whole of Africa. Like have a day or two with the people and talk to them about life and everything. So if I said, Tuli, let's go, where would you like to go? What two other countries besides Guinea? Because we'll go to Guinea.
Yes.
And what you would love to visit?
I would have to say,
and why?
Just because of my connections with basketball and people that I know, the first would be Rwanda, because I just think such, history and basketball and people that I'm really connected with who have been transformative in my life and who are also in the nonprofit sector. So I'd say Rwanda. And the second place I would say is Senegal, only because I've been there for 2 days, but it wasn't enough. And I feel like it's so rich, and I had a great experience, and it was a great vibe and great energy when I was there. So I probably definitely go back.
I now know you tell the truth, because I've heard about Senegal too, and the sense of energy there is just fascinating. And people are so nice and sweet that you see the unity between the Christians and the Muslims, and just the ambience, So I'd love to go there with you too one day.
Yes.
Now, what else would you like to share with the world that we don't know about Tuli? This is Unveiling Africa, so something that's in you that's pure African that you would like to share with the world.
I would say Nise Manika Kamfola. So basically, even though we talked about a village, I can speak Malinke or Mandingo. There's different ways you can pronounce it, and that is from Guinea, and I learned that before I learned English. So I spoke that for and our family does that when we have new children, just to preserve the language. So the kids speak. I'm
jealous because no one spoke that to me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I commend them. I really commend my family, and to speak my language just meant really a lot to us, and being able to navigate back home. So now I go to Guinea without my mom, and she's like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "I know, right?" So like her daughter, I travel whenever, and so now being able to be there and speak the language means everything to me.
Yeah. So. That's nice. I would never thought you spoke Mandingo. Is it Mandingo? So fluently. That's great, and that's why I do this, because you learn a lot from other people and the cultures, and I think that's something we really have to we really have to instill in our young ones, because I feel lost, and now my children are lost because I don't speak the African language. No one ever spoke it to me, so I couldn't learn. My dad and mom tried, but they wanted to keep us in line with the English language, so we could communicate worldwide. But I think in the end, it hurt us quite a bit, not speaking one of our languages. So maybe that's one thing I will do in my old age, learn the languages. All right. So now that we've almost come to the end of our show, and I hate to see you go because you're such an interesting conversationalist. How would you like to be remembered? You know, it's when I used to ask these questions, this question in particular, people used to say, why are you asking a young person how do you want to be remembered? But you know, it's important to leave a legacy, and it doesn't matter at what age. It grows on you, and maybe 20 years from now there'll be a different legacy. But for today, how would you want to be remembered?
That's so interesting. You know, my birthday was recent, and I always sit down and
happy birthday!
Thank you. And I reflect deeply. And initially, I wanted to be remembered as someone who made other people feel good. But I think now, kind of turning this chapter, I want to be remembered for somebody who deeply reminded others of God without words, and not say this is, but just through deep action of why I felt closer to a higher power when I was with her. And I think that would be the ultimate legacy to leave. I felt reminded, you know, and I think that would be a lot. I think it might change tomorrow, but
right now, that's how you feel. Yeah, but that's a great legacy. That's a great one because you know, in today's world, especially, we really have to be in one with God. You know, 100%. It's so powerful because the world is crunching in. It's, you know, and if you're not strong, you would just collapse around you. So we know we're the ones who want to be with God. You know, we're going to be left standing, and we'll have to create a new world. I promise you that. Yeah. We will do that. So thank you so much for all that you shared with me today. I truly enjoyed speaking with you. It was worth the wait. And I'm glad you were able to make it, because I know you're busy. I understood that. So don't worry about that. We all have busy lives, but even you doing what you do far away from home, you have added, you know, stress and you know, things to take care of. So keep us posted with what you're doing. Keep in touch. Be a friend to Unveiling Africa. You're welcome anytime if you want to share any more new experiences or new accomplishments. We'll be watching you closely, and we wish you the very, very best. How long are you going to be in Spain? Do you know?
Until March. I have about 4 more months here. So 4 or 5. It's about,
So then you're going to come back stateside?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, we wish you all the very best while you're out there, sucking all the goodness of Spain.
Yes.
Come back and share with us, you know, what you learned and what you think you could, you know, other people can learn from your experiences as well. So thank you so much, Batouly. I love to call you Tuli.
Thank you.
If you don't mind.
Thank you so much. No, it's fine.
But before we go, I must say one word or something else. Thank your mother for raising such a wonderful child. That's not easy in today's world. You know, she has done an awesome job. And please always respect your mom, because without them, without our mothers, we're not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. And my love to your friends and family. God bless you. Take care. You're welcome. Bye. We aim to please and bring the very best of Africa to you, and we hope that you will continue to enjoy our programs. Reach out to us on our social media handles, Chris Unveiling A for Instagram, Unveiling Africa YouTube. Please subscribe so we can bring you more shows, bring you more, and tell us what you want to see on our shows, because of you we are. And we thank you always for letting us into your homes. Thank you. Chris Unveiling A on Instagram, and also reach me on my Facebook, Unveiling Africa. Thank you. I'm your host, again, Kristen Daka McCary.